Shadowland. They've got fire, they've got style, they make chaos look worthwhile. Partners in crime, heartbeats aligned, together they're one of a kind. They're the couple that slays together, storming the world, it's now or never. Back to back, through thick and thin, in the game of life they always win. Blazing trails, leaving legends behind. Love so fierce, it's one of a kind. We're the couple that slays together. Oh.
Hey guys, welcome back to The Couple That Slays Together. I'm Brandon.
I'm Katie. Hey, Brandon, how you doing today?
I can get a different co-host, right? I was kidding.
No, really. How are things going?
I'm doing good. It's a cold Saturday, February
Gloomy.
2026 day,
Yeah.
and I'm just ready for the summer. And
You mean it's no day at the beach?
yeah, no shit. So, how are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm very excited for this review because I really did enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
And it is currently in theaters. We are doing some reviews, more theater release and newer movies.
Yeah.
So we're excited to share this with you.
Hey, Katie, let me ask you something. In the movies that you've seen in the past, what would you say is like the most intense? Maybe either give me one of each. Most intense plane crash in a film, and the big what's the creepiest uneasy disaster movie.
Plane crash, I don't really know. Air Force One
Mm-hmm.
from back in the day, the Harrison Ford, because isn't he fighting the Russians as it's going down?
I've never seen it. I know.
It's been a hot minute, so I don't know, but I think that it had a plane crashy type thing to it. Uneasy feeling?
Like disaster movie,
Disaster movie?
Like which one makes you say, "Oh shit"?
What's the one where the moon is colliding into the world?
Whatever, Moon Rising, something.
The
Moonfall.
The moon is coming towards them, and then like gravity is messing up too, and the people are like, "Brr."
Yeah.
That one was kind of messed up.
Yeah, I don't know. That one was really cheesy. Like it had some weird science fiction elements to it that I just didn't.
But the total uneasy feeling.
Yeah.
No, I will say this, not disaster related, but biggest near full on panic attack in a movie theater was Thanksgiving.
Really?
Yeah, our friend Candace KP literally had to rub my back and get my breathing under control because it's the crowds.
No.
That's why I don't like conventions.
I figured
It's the very beginning where everyone's pushing and shoving, and I need to get my waffle iron stuff. That just.
I figured you would have said Skyscraper, the Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, the fall. What's the other one where the chick is? There's two chicks and they're tethered to each other, and they're.
This is the same movie? I don't remember.
No, it's not Dwayne Johnson. It's they're. I think it's Fall.
Oh yeah, Fall. Yeah. They're making a second one.
Lordy.
Yeah.
That one was a hard to watch one for me. I don't do heights.
Yeah.
I don't even like to think about heights. I don't know about other people, but when it comes to heights, it makes my hands and feet hurt. My nerve endings go crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's vertigo or what that is. But
yeah. Also, I'm curious. Tell me about, and you don't necessarily have to name names.
I didn't know I was being interviewed, but okay.
Well, it's relevant to this film.
Okay.
What was the? Tell me about this. Yeah, this is kind of an interview, if you will. Tell me about a time where you had a really bad experience with a boss.
Our wedding day. I'm just kidding. No, I don't. What are you hinting at? What are you wanting me to say?
Well, with the movie we're reviewing, I don't know. Just tell me about a really bad time with your with a boss.
I've had a few. I think we've all had a few. I am a legal assistant. I've been a legal assistant since 2015, so 11 years. In 3 different capacities.
Yeah.
Different organizations. The very first place I worked for an attorney that literally called people stupid. He was and is a complete and total tool. I will say he made everyone feel less than, just in the way that he would talk with them, and he power tripped off that. He liked that a lot. Didn't like him at all. Same institution, different attorney, would literally call you into his office and want to know what gossip I had heard about him.
Hmm.
Was very uneasy.
Which one was this? Okay.
The other one.
Yeah.
Who also was married and having affairs while there. That was awful.
Yeah.
Most recently, I had a boss that would completely screw up our very small team. All her fault. Everything was waiting on her, and yet throw everyone else under the bus as if it was their fault.
Yeah.
And that got old very quick.
Yeah.
I don't mind being a team player and saying, we as a team missed a deadline. We as a team did something. But when we've actively gone to you, boss, 5, 6, 7, 10 times, and then when you get caught on the carpet, it's easy to blame your employee. Yeah, you were bad.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, I had a boss.
What do you want to share?
Oh, I don't know. I had a boss named Paul Wetzel.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm just kidding.
Does he have a child named Ryan?
No, Paul and Mike Perez and Jacob Harrison, those guys, Office Max. That was probably, we didn't have bad bosses there. We had bad days, So I mean, like we'd we were for the most part family, but you know how it is when you or I could be crabby. We just will have a crabby day, and
Yeah.
there will be things, but I could never say anything bad about those guys. I will tell this story though about a boss that I had. This was probably a good 10 years ago. So you're in the clear, Paul. I'm not talking about you. It was about 10 years ago, and this guy was almost like what is it? What's the one? I always switch them up. Masochist? Like they like
I
to.
always forget that too.
He liked to see others.
I have to remember Outlander.
Yeah.
Because she calls Jack Black a sadist. Those are the ones that want to hurt other people.
Black Jack, not Jack Black.
What did
You said Jack Black. No, but anyway. But so this guy, and the thing that sucks is this was actually my favorite office environment because I had my own office. It's the only place I ever had my own office ever. And
like a door that actually closed.
Yeah, and like
Nice.
yeah. But no, this guy, he let me go over the phone. Like he called me and basically was like, yeah, it's not working out, whatever. So then he messages me later that day and he says, hey, can you meet tomorrow at this location? And it was like a coffee shop or something, or whatever. I just remember we were sitting outside, and so I was like, okay. I thought that was weird, and I'm like, what does he want to meet about? Because I don't have anything. You let me go. Are you giving me my job back? Did you make a mistake?
Mhm.
I don't know.
Called the wrong Brandon.
Yeah, right. So I go and I sit down and he's literally like, so you got anything you want to say? And I'm like, is this seriously why you called me here? And like,
I'm to waste gas. I'm no longer employed.
right. He's like wanting to go over why I was a shit employee in his mind. It's like, brother, you already fired me. I don't need
Yeah.
you in my life anymore.
Yeah.
And so then not only that, this is the only person to ever contest me on unemployment. And we we did it. It was so weird. I was in court, but I was in court over the phone at home, and he was at home. And it was a judge literally on the phone.
Mhm.
And, I was going back and forth. He was saying that my graphic design degrees were all forged and that like, I didn't do things the way he wanted me to do them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where does this fucking guy get off? Thankfully, unemployment sided with me, and they knew he was full of shit. So, but that was a weird situation. So,
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Instead of our Would You Rather book,
Yeah.
I've got one off the cuff.
Okay.
So, would you rather go back to, I don't know if I can say the name. We both worked for a company that was awful.
Yeah.
My most recent last job.
Yeah.
In year 2. Would you rather go back and work at that location with those people, the exact same team, everything?
Yeah.
Or would you rather go back to, which one was it? etching.
Oh, Etching Industries.
Yes.
I didn't have a problem with that place. So I mean, that was
Oh, okay. What's the next worst one?
the one I was probably just talking about with that.
Okay, would you rather work with him or where we just came from?
Probably where I just came. Probably that one, because as awful as that was, that firing was the one thing that was awkward, and the other place that you were just talking about that we both worked at the same time. My blood pressure was through the roof.
Oh yeah.
And I'm mad a lot, but I was more mad working there. So, well, since you didn't do one, I'll do one for you because I don't have one. But okay, so we do a midsection called "Would You Rather." It's a horror edition. There's a few others out there, but this one's by Sophia Rivers. She might do the other ones. I'm not sure. I haven't looked, but
you may be able to find it in other locations. But we got this off Amazon.
yeah. Okay, this one you'll like. Would you rather uncover a trove of ancient letters dating back to 1389 in your own handwriting?
We did this one.
Oh, really? Okay. Would you rather?
Theme. I was gonna say, I remember 1389.
Would you rather put a seashell to your ear and be consumed by harrowing wails of the dead, each desperately crying warnings of horrors to come, or would you rather be subjected to the unimaginable terror of having a starfish latch onto your face and assume control of your body, forcing you to live as its puppet for a third of your life? How are these even comparable?
Somebody was smoking.
Yeah.
Definitely the first one.
Right. Same. That was.
I could hear it and then I could lay it down.
Yep.
Right? It's not attached.
I'm going to go with a different question because that was so dumb. Okay. Would you rather discover that your parents aren't real parents, they're your captors, or learn that you were switched at birth, but your real parents prefer the other child they were given and want nothing to do with you?
Ow. Ouch.
Yeah.
I guess the first one, because it wouldn't be like, I don't want anything to do with you, but it's kind of weird to think, oh, they kidnapped me instead. Fun fact, I am very much like my mom's younger sister, and she is distant from the family, but apparently certain things I say and do remind me of my aunt, or remind my parents of my aunt all the time. So there for a hot minute, when I was like younger, I was always like, I wonder if I'm really her daughter.
That's funny.
Like the whole when the younger sibling has a kid too young and then another sibling raises them. I'm like, but then I saw pictures of my mom pregnant with me, and I'm definitely my mom's daughter, but it was like, man, if my aunt was my mom.
Right.
Anyway.
I'm going to go with number 2, because at least I still got 2 parents that love me, even though I'm not naturally theirs. It's almost like being adopted.
Yeah, that's true too.
Okay, so we are going to now get into our review. We have another new one from the year 2026 this year. We are reviewing Send to Help. Katie, what did you write down for a horror subgenre for this?
So I put down suspense, and I wasn't exactly sure if you would agree with or not the there's the revenge.
Yes, I did.
You did, okay. Because sometimes these subgenres, it can be more specific, but then a little loosey.
Yeah.
So I did suspense and revenge for those two. Yeah. Did you have any others?
I did. I had several. So I had survival.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, survival, because they're obviously crash landing on a deserted island,
right.
So they think. I said this was also suspense because you don't know when you're gonna, something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I said psychological because when you're trapped on an island, shit can start messing with your head.
Yeah.
Especially being stuck there with your asshole boss.
Yeah.
That can definitely. And I'd say abuse too, because the way that he was acting, it might not have been. Well, it did get pretty abusive, but then
right.
With your asshole boss, that's what I love about the idea of this movie is what is the most realistic, horrific thing you could possibly think of. And I mean, the movie itself kind of, you can see that the pitch meeting and already, it's like, what's the worst thing you can go through? Being stuck on a deserted island with a boss that you fucking hate.
Mhm.
And that's what they did, or that's what they went for anyway. So,
Did you say that at least there's like the one scene where it may be torture?
um,
There's one scene where it made me lean to possible torture.
maybe.
Yeah.
Sure.
I wouldn't say that the entire movie is, but there's
Yeah.
one scene. Yeah.
This film was written by Damian Shannon and Mark Swift and directed by the great Sam Raimi, responsible for things like Evil Dead and the original Spider-Man trilogy. This film stars Rachel McAdams as Linda Little, Dylan O'Brien as Bradley Preston. We have Adil Ismail as Zuri. We have the Allstate guy, Dennis Haysbert as Franklin.
He was also the president in 24.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We have Chris Pang as Chase, Xavier Samuel as Donovan, and a little bit of approved nepotism here, but Emma Raimi as River, Sam Raimi's daughter, the one that was sitting across from Rachel in the thing.
She was only really in that one scene.
Yeah, two, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
same set, but I think they did a couple scenes there. But you're right, yeah. Our plot summary for this film: an employee and her insufferable boss become stranded on a desert island, the only survivors of a plane crash. Here, they must overcome past grievances and work together to make it out alive. I want to start out with just talking about our characters here. Rachel McAdams, who is just a chameleon, man.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, she is always Rachel McAdams, but is somehow 100% her characters. I mean, I think this is not a good word to say, but I'm going to say it because I don't know any other word to say it. She's kind of a spaz.
I would say mousy.
Yeah.
She's
Well,
homely.
yeah, I
at the
would.
beginning.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. This is
Quirky.
well, this is an observation that I made because it's hard for me to judge this because I know what it's like to work in corporate America. You know what it's like to work in corporate America.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always suits and ties.
Mm-mm.
So, especially for like, us, like even working at places I've worked, I still would go to work in just t-shirt and jeans or even just comfy pants. So I get it. However, this place did kind of seem like it called for like business dress or whatever the term is.
Mm.
And I mean, she did that, I mean, she still looked, nice. She wasn't really presentable.
She's more of a function
Yeah.
over fashion.
Yeah.
And it at least it looked like and he's a new boss. He's like the president that passed away's son, and he just walks into the position. And he doesn't really know what he's doing. He doesn't really know any function. But all he cares about is the good looking.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, basically the kind of the opening premise is, Linda is this, executive assistant, and, she basically is, the guy she's talking about, the Dylan O'Brien's character, Bradley, he has basically just been given this company from his dad. His dad passed away, and his dad was one of those types of parents that on the surface is like the nice guy. He's like, the horrible bosses down
They
at
never really
Sutherland.
show him.
Well, I'll get to that.
They speak about him.
Right. But I'm saying on the surface because, and again, that'll be one of my points when I get to in our notes in a little while. But, on the forefront, you think this guy is like this nice older guy. We don't see him, but like he's described as this nice older guy who left behind this legacy, and basically his son is basically going to just use it for his own personal gain. He's got hot assistants, but then he's also got a hot fiance and all these things. And they don't really paint Rachel as this hot girl in the office, if you will,
I kind of took the conversations that they had about the father that passed away is that he seemed to kind of treat Linda with like the dangling carrot theory.
Yep.
If you've ever heard of this before, it's like managers, like you're the workhorse and they just keep moving that carrot so that you keep following what they want done. And so she was kind of promised a VP.
Yep.
But he never gave her the VP.
Yeah.
And then he ends up passing away and giving the company to his son. And his son's like, I'm not making her VP. I'm getting my buddy in here.
Yeah.
So in a way, I feel like, maybe he was charismatic,
Yeah.
but he was still a tool because he was still using her.
Yeah. And you're right. Yeah. I mean, she was quirky. Here's something interesting that I thought. Here's something that I thought was interesting. I never noticed, and this is pretty pathetic because Rachel McAdams was like a top crush of mine for the longest time. And not saying she isn't now, but I'm just saying, what's whatever about crushes. But anyway, she had this big ass mole on her face. Never noticed that was a thing. But
she's always had it.
I never noticed it. I don't know why. I never thought about it. But what I noticed in watching some press interviews for this film versus watching the film is they made that mole look nastier and bigger. I think,
possibly, yeah.
To go with the character,
Yeah.
Linda Little. I mean, you think about that name. That's a Kimmy Giller. That's a Brandon Benfield. You know what I mean? Like that's a the double initial like blah 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 names are usually kind of eccentric. People would say that about me.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
personally, I feel like it took when I think of Rachel McAdams, I think of like Allie from The Notebook.
Yep.
And Mean Girls. She's a beautiful individual, A-list actor, but she made this role look like it was effortless.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have to put a bunch of makeup on her, and she was able to just still. Yes, she was quirky and homely and frumpy and things like that to begin with.
It didn't wear makeup.
Yes.
Wore kind of like your plain girl sweaters and like the long apostolic
And, like,
woman dresses and
like,
stuff.
The like corny jokes and things like that. But she did it so effortlessly. It was like you said, she's a chameleon.
Yeah. What I wrote down is that she reminded me, she reminded me of a few people altogether. She reminded me of Edward Nygma from Batman Forever. Like too many questions, Mr. Wayne. Too many questions. Obviously that was his own Jim Carrey thing, but she was very kind of, and I haven't gotten confirmation if this word is bad or not, but very spazzy. Like
I don't think that's bad. I took it more as she was like the Poison Ivy before.
Oh, that's a good way. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's also kind of like Cousin Eddie from Christmas Vacation or all the vacation movies, like Clark, like like she'd do a lot of that, whatever, like the kind of like the trying to get you to joke around, whatever, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was also, it's funny, we keep comparing her to Batman characters. When she went, there's a point where she goes home and you realize she's single and doesn't have anybody. She has a bird. Very, very reminiscent of Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman before she becomes Catwoman. Very much, this is you got to go all the way back to the office, talks to herself type of thing, talks to her cats. She's very much talks to her bird like it's just you and I, like, or whatever. And so it reminded me of Michelle Pfeiffer's character. Now, Bradley, Dylan O'Brien's character, reminded me a lot of Chow from Ken Jeong's Chow in The Hangover, and Stifler, like very much.
Funny because it's true.
A lot of the, him and like Stifler did it in American Wedding, the third American Pie. Like it's almost like he forgot how to be Stifler because he was very eccentric Stifler, and I feel like this is what he was a lot like. He also, like, his body's type, his shape, his hair really reminded me of Drew Lynch, the comedian, the starting comedian and everything. So, but so basically what happens through this, and again, we're going to spoil the shows, but, she finds out that he's promoting his buddy Donovan, who is the definition of a chotch, like just real, like
biggest tool.
Yeah. I mean, just hair slicked back, preppy glasses, prep everything.
Yes, the suspenders.
Yeah, and so, the Allstate guy's telling him, I just always call him that, the Allstate guy tells him, he's like, Linda has been, promised that job, and she expects it, and she's done all of the work around here, you need to give her that. He's like, no, fuck you, I'm giving it to my buddy Donovan.
Well, and that buddy also, before the announcement, took credit for a very large project that she did.
Stayed up all night for.
Yeah, that she stayed up all night for and did, and he put a Post-it with her, or she put a Post-it with her name on it.
Yeah.
And then she oversees him go into the meeting, because she thought she was going to the meeting, and then they're like, what are you thinking? No, you're going to stay back in the cubicle,
Yep.
And then he takes the Post-it note off, throws it away, and takes credit for her work.
Yep.
So,
And it's funny because not funny. It's funny, not funny, but I really just I was like watching this. I'm like, I know this is going to happen. And yet I know my wife is going to feel this to her core because she probably feels this way about a lot being, an assistant or like a legal, whatever, executive assistant. Hell, I don't like when people take credit for my work either. I mean, it hasn't happened very often in my life, thank God. But, because a lot of times it happens on social media. I'll make a meme or something and people will like pass it around and I'm like, hey, I made that.
Well, so it's funny you say that because just this week I drafted up a motion and a proposed order.
Yeah.
And this particular motion was a joint motion, meaning that both sides, both us and opposing counsel, agreed to this. But we can't put their signatures on without in writing, basically, agreement.
Yeah.
So we emailed over to their firm and I was like, here's the motion and proposed order. Please review. Let me know if you've got any issues. Let me know if I can affix your signature. A few hours later, an email comes from their assistant saying, hey guys, take a look at this motion and proposed order. And it was mine. But I think that it was, because she sent it to all the same people again. So I'm hoping that maybe she was just being nice and being like, hello, let her know.
Yeah.
But instead, it just seemed like it was like, hey guys, I drafted this. And I'm like, timestamp, I did.
Yeah.
You bitch.
So basically the two meet in his office and he's like, look, I'm going to give this to my buddy Don, but here's the thing, and he was always going to do it, he was, but he said to Stuart, he's like, look, we've still got this Bangkok merger or whatever the fuck. You need to actually go to Bangkok. I want you on it. You worked the hardest on it. I want you on it. You're going to come with me. And so that's when they get in the plane. Now,
there is kind of a hint there that he might be a little bit of a germaphobe.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I wanted to bring that up because, and this is where I actually wrote something down with this. So, basically, she eats a tuna sandwich for lunch that day, and that's when she goes to meet up with him. She got a piece of it stuck on her chin or on her cheek. That looks so gross. And it's like, how do you not feel that? How do you not feel that, hon? But at the same time, like, I get both sides of it kind of because it's like, whatever. And if you're already kind of looking at them like you're the dirty kid,
I think that one of the things that's great about this, the movie in general, but her character specifically in the movie, is how relatable it is.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
Male, female, adult, child, school, work. We've all been there where it's like, oh, somebody could have told me that I had an eye crust and, or that I had dribbled ketchup down the front of me or, where I'm working at now, I absolutely love. But one of the first weeks I was there, I got this like chicken pesto wrap.
Yeah.
They put so much pesto on the wrap. I took one bite and and pesto's oily. It just all down the front of me.
Yeah.
And I still remember, I'm in a cubicle it's a small office. No one's really around. So I'm like trying to like get paper towels and get the oil up as quickly as I can. And I look up and there's my brand new boss, my attorney. And he's just like,
That's funny.
Because I'm like, dabbing. We've all been there. We've all done something embarrassing. Or you go, that's been that way the whole day. My zipper's been down, or something like that.
I have this theory that, and again, I say this because I'm a big guy. I call it the fat guy drip. Like you drip it on your shirt and it's big spot there the whole day. And it's like it stains and you can't wash it out. And it's like, damn it.
Do that or be embarrassing and wear a bib.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the beauty of this movie is that you can really relate to her character a lot. We've all had a crappy boss. We've all, in one way or another, been a spaz.
Yep.
In our own way, we're nerdy about something or we find something funny and it's like, oh, crickets. Nobody else found that funny.
Yep. And by the way, if you're offended by the word spaz,
I don't think it's expensive.
Supposedly it is. I don't know. Like I'm not up with the trends.
We're millennials.
We said it since we were kids, but then I was called on it like not too long ago, and I'm like, I didn't hear that, but okay.
What is that? Well, I wonder. I don't know how that would be offensive.
I don't either. But yeah,
ditzy would be more offensive,
I guess. But anyway, so they're on the plane. It's I think Linda was thinking that it was just going to be her and Bradley, and she was probably going to get a chance to speak her piece, show her worth, all these things, right? Mm-hmm. Well, She gets there, and all of his douchebag buddies are on the plane with him. You know, the employees or like the Chatskys that he's been able to hook up with at the office, or his buddy from college, like we just said.
And once again, on the plane, she's the one that's actually like on her laptop doing the work,
Yep,
writing the report and everything, and they're just like hanging out,
Well, they're hanging out,
drinking,
but they're also watching her survival audition
and making
videos.
fun of her and laughing.
Right.
And I will say that was the first moment in the movie when she like highlighted her work or like she like went to delete her work and not save it. I was like, do it,
Yeah,
do it.
because she got
Don't you
all the way
dare.
done.
Yeah,
And then-
don't you dare make that report for them.
Yeah,
And she hit
save,
delete. I was
save.
yeah, mother.
Yeah, she hit don't save. It's almost like that scene in the first season of Buffy where they were making fun of Willow and Buffy the whole time, and then they're like, "All right, what do we do? What do we do? When is it done? Or what do we do? Like to send it, deliver,
Yeah.
delete, and then deletes the whole thing."
and how many of us to relate have been in that group project where you take on like the burden of the majority of everything and everyone else is goofing off, and you really want to be like, let's just all get Fs. Yeah,
Right.
and it was a good moment.
Yeah. But then something happens. Obviously, the plane goes down, and everybody pretty much dies except. I mean, and they did it like this was one of the like Sam Raimi things, man.
It was a very realistic plane crash.
Yeah. It was. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was probably the best plane crash I've seen in a movie. In a long time.
Yeah.
It was over the ocean.
That scene alone is like go see it in theaters for that.
And here's the thing, with getting stuck on a deserted island like this, that's normal. Like there's nothing supernatural on it.
Yeah.
You're gonna be kind of grasping at things to bring fear because you still want this to be a horror movie, right?
Well,
So-
I think it makes you go into more of the primal.
Right.
The evolutionary, what our ancestors had to go through day to day, like she shows like the first things you go for, fresh water, shelter, food, then next. So,
But what I was saying is, like, for the horror film aspect of this, because they were really trying to make that a horror movie, right?
Mm.
You don't have a costumed, masked character that's coming to kill you, and you don't know who done it or who's next. You don't have a paranormal element to it. There's no ghost. There's no demon spirit. There's nothing like that.
Nature.
Right. So you're not going to have all of these elements around you. So you've got to pull, like you just said, you got to pull from nature. You've got to pull from natural disaster. You've got to pull from plane crashes. You've got to pull from they made it so they didn't crash the plane during the day. They crashed it at night. Why? Because the ocean is a lot scarier looking at night. And so, they made the plane crash happen there, but then obviously they wake up overnight on the island or whatever. And they did this really cool scene too, where you see the plane crash and then they do like a quick pan up and lightning hits and you see there's an island in the distance. Well, that's where we're going to have our movie. So that's, they really did a good job at setting up for that. So I like how they did that.
I will say this too. I wondered this because it's not really in the trailer of how she's knowledgeable to be a survivor on the island and everything. I like the buildup of it. To me, it's realistic. You see when she's in her apartment with the bird, you see that she has all these like dog-eared books of all these different survival stuff that she is into, and it made me think of, there's a trend now for like homesteading. A lot of ladies my age, sourdough and homemade breads, and you can raise your own chickens for eggs and this survival hobby of hers.
Watch a Survivor. She was watching.
And she wants to be, to me, it wasn't a far-fetched, like, you're grasping at straws here to try to make this character.
Right.
Yada, yada. It seemed like a natural thing. And in fact, while we were watching it in the theaters, we had a group of ladies behind us. And obviously, they were not horror fans.
Yep.
They didn't even really like the trailers that were coming on for other movies.
Before you continue, I will say this about just setting up the atmosphere for you. It was a Sunday afternoon when we saw this. It was full of regular people, if you will. And I say that not to offend anybody, but it's like, we're big horror fans. We know when we're going to a horror movie who we're going to see and what kind of people are there. You could tell that these were kind of your regular everyday people, especially the 3 or 4 women that were behind us.
Yeah. And one of them was a very big Survivor fan. It sounded like she was honestly very vocal throughout the whole movie. But when they showed her on the plane when they were making fun of Linda for her audition tape, the woman was like, "Oh, a survivor," and then it got me thinking. I'm like, there are a lot of people. There's Naked and Afraid and Survivor and all of these things where and Doomsday Preppers and things like that, where people do have more knowledge than what you would give them credit for of how to, she was saying like there's like 4 different ways to start a fire and how she gets fresh water and all that stuff. So I wanted to give credit to that because I feel like some other horror movies really have to stretch to make it realistic. This one didn't. It made sense why she would know how to survive.
Yeah. But also, I want to say, too, about the women that were sitting behind us, really entertaining. And again, I apologize if this isn't what you're looking for, but we were laughing because while this is a survival type of movie, it's still a Sam Raimi horror movie. And so people weren't expecting kind of like the gore that was there, including the previews. So we're seeing all these red band trailers for, Scream 7 and, one comes on for
Ready or Not.
Yeah, Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. And it's really funny when, there's like someone's head blows up, like it does in the first one.
Yeah, you've seen the first one. It's
the family
the
members.
same like push.
And it just in sync, these 3 or 4 women are just, ew. And I'm like, it's funny because
you're in for it, girls.
But because us as horror fans, it's just so funny because it's like to them, it's traumatizing. But for us, we put on Terrifier as a comfort movie, and it's like there's a chick that gets sawed in half in that one very, very vividly. But but at the same time, it's funny too because I went to see Abigail. We saw that originally in theater 2 years ago, and then I saw it a week later with friends that you weren't there with. And I went with a group of my friends, and there was probably the horror fans outweighed the non-horror fans. There were like 2 that were not big into horror movies, and there were scenes in there like for us, Abigail, great movie. We just had it was still kind of like light on the light side for us.
Yeah.
But like when
she's dancing with the decapitated head.
Well, that and then like when the head blows up.
Oh yeah.
I had like one friend like kicking at the screen, and then the other friend was like about to barf. It was hilarious. So I mean, again,
sure hearts.
Right. So yeah, it's shit like that makes me laugh, and because it's like I'm so desensitized to this, but you just don't realize how many people aren't. And it, when it becomes the shock, you're like, oh,
yeah.
So,
and I wouldn't say that Send Help was gory per se.
Right.
It had a couple of moments, and we won't go point by point by point. And we're trying to kind of make our episodes a little bit more condensed,
but more conversational as well.
But more conversational. There are jump scares.
Yeah.
Most definitely, there's jump scares, and then I mean, we'll talk about it. But she ends up, she saves him and he's got a hurt leg and everything.
Yeah.
So she's doing the fire and the water and everything. So she goes to hunt because they need actual meat. And he was like, about fish.
Yeah.
And that hunting scene was probably the goriest of the whole movie, but it was so good.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Really? I loved it.
Okay, so here was my issue. And again, I'm not the type of person that hates CGI. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
But they used a CGI boar.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, there were a few elements in this movie where you're like, oh yeah, there's Sam Raimi. There he is. That was one of them.
Okay.
What I mean is it's Sam Raimi is very like Evil Dead, right? The faces, like they're just crazy, like with makeup and stuff, Army of Darkness, all that stuff, right? So I felt like the CGI boar, because that boar was huge. Like, I mean,
they are in real life too.
Well, right, but that one didn't look like a real boar. I will say this is the one thing that Strangers Chapter 2 had is, yes, that was a CGI boar. That looked more like a real boar than this boar did, in my opinion, I felt. But that kind of took me out of the movie for a bit. So I wish they would have made done a practical effect boar or made it look a little bit more real. Now, I will say the second boar that he finds that he chases, that looked like a normal boar.
Yeah.
But I think they were trying to amp up the fear. Again, this is where I feel like there's not a lot of fearful moments they could pull from, so they've got to add it where they can. I feel like they did it with this boar that attacked her.
See, I took it a different way with that.
Okay.
Because to me, there were, once again, Linda gives, what's his name, Brad?
Yeah.
Brad another chance. He's been a complete and total dick to her, and she's saved his life. She's built shelter. He's then going, well, why didn't you do SOS on the beach? And why didn't you do this? And I'm still your boss. This was the first time we saw her, one, her rage.
Yeah.
And then two, the inhibition.
Yeah.
Instead of giving more chances and everything, she went for it. It was like you could see so like in psychology, there's like the id, the ego, and the super ego. Like you got to see her id, who she truly was with that. She was in her element. She was able to do it. You could see kind of like the emotional release that she had with it.
Yeah.
And so honestly, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, I don't even really remember exactly what the boar even looked like. I just remember being like, yeah, that's my girl, you know?
Yeah.
She's providing, she's taking care of things, she's getting it done. And obviously as the movie progresses, you see more and more of that from her.
Yeah.
But
I wanted to back up a little bit if we could.
Yeah.
One thing that I noted that I thought was interesting is when they first get to the island, and you were talking about how, because she wakes up conscious, fine, whatever, she gets washed up and then wakes up during the whatever. She has to find Bradley, and like you said, he's got a wounded leg, he can't walk, he's got to rehabilitate. But in the first few days, they're laying there, okay? And so it was interesting, I said, because she was feeding him, right? And he had food kind of all over his face. And I thought it was interesting because she wiped his face. She wiped him clean. But back in the office, when things were fine, he was like, "Ew, you got a little." I felt like that said a lot about each of their characters.
Yep. Yeah. It's another kind of a subtlety that you pick up there on the personality. Yeah. And how you would treat another human being.
Yeah. I feel like they're both very extra. They're both like, she's very quirky and eccentric, and she's having the time of her life. This is a dream for her. She has nothing back at home except for her bird. There are things that we haven't learned about both of them yet, but for her, this is amazing, to the point where she's walking, trying to find food, and there's a boat that drives by.
She's right before that, she's kind of like taking a shower kind of in the waterfall.
Yep.
And this is one of the first times where you see her kind of going from frumpy to beautiful.
Yeah.
She's in her element. She's glowing, you'd say.
Taking her hair down.
She's taking her hair down. She's washing herself. And she's seeing her own reflection in the pool of water.
Yeah.
And she's seeing herself as beautiful and happy where she's not at home.
Yeah.
She's not with the job and everything. And then that's when she looks over and she sees, it's not exactly a tourist boat, but a smaller boat.
Yeah.
And I thought it as soon as she said it. She's like, not yet. And I'm like, she doesn't want to go back home.
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell for her it's a dream, but for him it's a nightmare. There's a note that I wrote down, especially when the boat rides by, but also when she says not yet. I said the same thing.
Yeah.
She's going to enjoy herself while also giving him the time to learn his lesson. But also she could have left him. She really could have left his ass there and gone back in that boat, and he would have died.
She could have said, I was the sole survivor. No one's back there.
But she's also not that person.
Yeah.
But I honestly felt this could, at first when I'm watching this, now again, we're not further into the movie yet, but I'm also thinking this is a little irresponsible of her, because if she really wants to be his caretaker, or if she's trying to be the better person, you would think that she would want to get him medical treatment on the leg. But then at the same time, it's like, well, she also has the survival instincts and can do it for him. So I feel like it went back and forth for me on that.
I wondered during that time, I was like, why does she keep giving him chances?
Yeah.
Why doesn't she just let him rot on his own? Because he's being horrible to her still. And then my thought process during that was, I'm wondering if she's either going to torture him.
Yeah.
Because she's so angry and so upset. So she's playing nice or whatever because she wants him to heal so that she can do worse.
Yeah.
Or she might truly think that she can sell herself to him.
Right.
So that when they get back, she can get a VP spot.
Right.
But then I'm like, that pisses me off though, girly, because once again, you have no self-esteem.
Right.
And you're trying to prove yourself to this butt munch.
Yeah.
Versus like, I don't know. During that time period, you're trying to kind of figure out why she is trying to teach him and trying to care for him. Um, Obviously, it progresses from there, but in that moment, you don't know.
Right. Yeah. So, okay, so he starts to be able to walk. She takes him walking. She takes him. I thought it was really weird. She took him way up on the
Yeah.
mountain. I'm like, I'm trying to figure out how did y'all get up there? Because I don't know if I would have
Yeah.
thought to go up that way unless there was like a ridge that goes like, straight up and then around.
Yeah.
But she shows him. It was interesting because she came back from the hunt and she tells him, she's like, I went over there and that's where a bunch of pricker bushes and shit are. You don't want to go over there.
Yeah.
But I took her word for it,
Yeah.
thinking, oh, that's what that was.
Yeah.
But then so the movie progresses and
I thought in that moment either she's telling the truth.
Yep.
Or because you don't really know exactly which way she went when she was at the waterfall.
Right.
So I thought maybe that's where the waterfall is and she knows there's like trade boats or something like that there.
Right.
That was my thought, was she just doesn't want them to come back through.
Yep.
And him to see that boat.
Yeah. And then so she shows him don't go over there and such basically. And so they go back and the movie progresses and then his fiance shows up.
Well, to back up a little bit. While she's over there, she shows him how you can tell if a berry is poisonous or not.
Yep.
And he ends up taking that knowledge and poisoning her. And he tries to build, because again, he thinks he's better. He thinks he knows better. He thinks he can do better, et cetera, et cetera. So he builds a raft. He tries to leave her. And that's what kind of gets you into this torture thing, because the raft breaks. And instead of her dying from being poisoned, she gets sick a lot, which is a gross situation. But when he comes to and everything, she ends up being able to poison him with a poisoned octopus.
Yep.
And he becomes numb, and she acts as if she's torturing him. So I'm sitting here going, okay, so this is why she wanted to stay on the island. And for him to stay on the island, she's finally going to torture him.
Mm-hmm.
And that was all fake.
Well, but that also, yeah, I think.
I mean, it was psychological torture, but she didn't actually hurt him.
She was cutting up like a rat or something.
Yeah.
But I think she was trying to put the fear of God into him, like, hey, I'm your provider,
Yeah.
protector. Don't fuck with me.
Yeah.
Don't try to kill me.
Yeah.
Don't try to leave me.
Yeah.
Eat shit type of thing.
Yeah.
So,
Not trying to go scene by scene here with it, but to me, that one was also kind of telling, because I'm sitting here going, why didn't you actually castrate him like what she was pretending she was going to do? Why didn't you at least, like, I don't know, do something? To me, it was like she wanted to correct him, but then she didn't follow through.
Yeah. And honestly, to be honest with you, and we'll get into our grading obviously later, but this honestly is the reason why I didn't give it an A per se, because her motive was so unclear. And it
was back and forth.
It was, because does she want to stay? Does she want the executive job? Does she want the vice president job or whatever? Does she want, does she want to do something completely different? Does she love him? Does she hate him? Does she, you didn't really know where it was going, and it kind of didn't land. Like, I mean, it did, but it didn't, like, because, obviously it seemed at first that she wanted to stay on the island as long as possible, but then, we know how it results, which we'll get to, but like, it just was kind of opposite of that. So, but anyway, they get to a point where another boat comes by and it's got this dude and it's got his fiance, the Bradley's fiance. And she's like, oh my God, Linda, I found you. We've been looking, they said that they called off the search in this area, but I knew this is where you guys had to be, and blah, blah, blah. And so she takes them up on that mountain thing, which again, I'm like, how, that can't be the only way around that, whatever. But I mean, it was a little bit too convenient. But so she gets there and, it's implied that, she pushes both of them off because, and that, again, this is where the motive was unclear, because it's like,
they did do a flashback a little bit later,
right?
That the fiance falls and is like hanging.
Yep.
And the boat guide is trying to help the fiance, and Linda ends up smashing him with a rock, and they both go down.
But then again, I ask, what's the motive there? Are you trying to stay on the island longer? Do you not want him to kill you, or do you not want him to leave you? Because it seems like you want to be there, like, but not.
Well, so, and towards the end, she makes a comment to him when they're having their like final showdown between the two of them.
Yeah.
She was saying something about you could have been my love, and we could have been a good team. We could have been partners.
Yeah.
I think she has a crush on him.
Maybe.
It's not explicitly clear here, but I think she has a crush on him. I think she wants to prove herself to them. I think she wants to look cool in his eyes.
Yeah.
And I think that's why she keeps giving him chances. And
I feel like we need to pause and go back a little bit because there was I know step by step, but
yeah.
there's an important thing we're forgetting to talk about. So she was actually previously married before.
Yes, they get drunk on some homemade
toilet water. Toilet wine is what they call it. Yep. And they're talking. They've got a fire going, on the beach at night. She says that her husband, what was it? He died in a car accident, drunk drive. Oh yeah, he drives in drunk driving accident. And then she normally would take his keys when he would drink, but that night, she threw him on the table, said, "You want to drive?"
She explains basically that he was verbally abusive for a long time, and she doesn't say what he said, but she said it was the worst thing he'd ever said to me.
Yeah.
And he demanded my keys, or his keys, and this was the one time I gave him his keys and was just like, do it, whatever.
Yeah.
And he ended up getting in a car accident and dying.
But then Bradley admits that his dad was basically an absent father, always too busy for the company for him.
You guys knew him better than I did.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that his mother was basically kind of the abusive one and or, treated him as such. And that's why he is the way he is apparently. So, but we get to a point where, and this was another Sam Raimi moment where I was just like, okay. And it didn't take me out as bad as the boar did because I knew it was a dream. But, you see her laying there feeling guilty about killing the both of them. And she's like dreaming that Zuri, I think was her name. Zuri,
the fiance.
Yeah, she comes back up on the beach. Zoe, yes. She comes up on the beach and you basically see like a skull face come at the camera.
Well, it makes you wonder if she actually died. Like,
right.
How did she live? And then it's like, oh, she's in her mind, and she's like a tortured because she killed them.
Yeah, but then Bradley's trying to be nice from being tortured, and like he's gonna you kind of think maybe the leopard's changing his spots or whatever the term is, but he goes out and sees that he goes to kind of that area where she told him not to go, and finds Zoe's hand basically sticking out of the beach, and there's a ring on it. It's the ring that's big ass gaudy ass fucking engagement ring that he gave her and stuff. And then he's crying. He's like, oh my god. And then he looks up and there's a huge ass fucking house on the side of the hill.
So yeah, the area where she was like, it's all like thistle and pricker bushes, and it's just going to destroy your legs and feet. Just stay out of there. There's nothing to gather from there. Yep. It was actually like a billionaire's multi-million-dollar fancy
that boats keep
beautiful
coming in
house. Yeah, the
bringing fruit. Yep.
Well, and one other thing is that earlier in the movie, she said that she found a knife that had washed up on the beach. And so when he finds the house and he goes in there, she's like, you really believe that a knife just washed up off the beach? Like, come on, dude.
And see that actually, I believed because of, they were talking about, it
could have been something from the crew.
Right. They were talking about like the plane stuff and the kitchen stuff. Yeah. And so I was like, well, maybe this is just a knife that washed up. That was the nice thing about this movie is like when they lied to you, you believed it, Right. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. There were several things like that, like the bush area, like the X, you went along with it. You believed her just like he did.
Yep. But then, he ends up in the house. She's on like a voiceover thing, like the security system finds like in like a cave or something. And they kind of have a showdown in the house, and this I thought took me out a little bit too. It was like, they were like, I love you. And
he was lying to her. He was using her for that.
Were they? I mean, I guess.
Yeah, because he had already, on the statue, there's like two horns, and he had already been riding the one horn behind him. So he was basically sweet talking her, literally, as he was like approaching her closer, and he was going to like hit her with the horn.
Yeah, or stab her with it or whatever.
And she had a shotgun, and
so they were both bullshitting each other, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then the end shot was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
She gets him on the ground, and she's got a golf club, and it kind of ties it back to the beginning.
Well, it turns out the shotgun was empty because he ends up with the shotgun.
Yep.
Goes to try to shoot her, and it's empty. And she gets him down on the ground, and she goes to hit him with the golf club.
Yep.
And
Takes a swing, and then it was a really cool transition
Yeah.
to where it goes to. It's a year later, and she's on like the golf course
Yeah.
golfing for charity or something.
and she's like taking over the company.
Show's hot now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it leads you though to wonder, and this is one of the points I put. I wonder if they never are fully clear on if she quote unquote murdered her ex-husband, the alcoholic abuser,
Yeah.
or if it just happened the way that she did say, which was he got into a car accident because he was drinking.
Yeah.
You also then wonder, has she been, because of what he said to her in the office and he made her cry and everything, did she somehow sabotage the plane to cause the plane crash?
I don't think so.
Because I think that would be, I was wondering the entire time if they were going to do any flashback
Yeah.
to show that, she went to the bathroom and knew to do something. I don't know.
Yeah. Before we get into our interesting things to note, I just wanted to read off a couple of other notes that I wrote about this. So there was a point in the movie where, she was kind of discovering her balls, if you will, like her, to whatever, kind of like what you're talking about with the hunter, hunting the boar. Another thing that she did that I thought was a nice, just a little cherry on top or whatever, was that she was able to make them cups. And she carved her name, Linda, into one of the cups, and that was like a sense of ownership. Like, this is mine, motherfucker. I made this. This is, I'm taking ownership of this.
Yeah.
Thought that was a nice kind of thing.
Similar along those lines, I love the scene where he's like, "You're fired," and she's like, "Where are you going to send my last paycheck? The second coconut tree on the left?"
Yep. Right. I kind of felt like the poisonous puking that she was doing, it was a little excessive.
Yes.
But I felt
100%.
but I felt like that was on purpose because again,
It made you uncomfortable.
Well, right. So it added to the horror element. But again, there's not a lot without a ghost or a fucking serial killer.
Yeah.
You got to pull from those kind of things, and it makes sense for this. So, the biggest thing, two big takeaways I got from this was I wrote this quote down right after she said it. She said to her boss, she says, "Don't ever mistake my kindness for weakness."
I love that.
It was something I feel like we've all wanted to say to our asshole bosses, because there are times where I feel like we work so hard, we come up with innovations. Hell, I'll say this: at my last job, I came up with, a tracking system of like, all right, you're concerned about us meeting deadlines. Well, I came up with a couple of different ways on how we can do it. End of day reports on what we did today, and a spreadsheet on things to where, what they're due, and, something we had access to because we didn't have access to when our deadlines. And, we got in trouble for it. And it's like, all right, well, here's a solution. Boss didn't want to take the solution.
And management didn't come up with the solution.
I did.
That is their job to do. And then even when it's given to them on a plate, they don't take it.
Right.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I wanted to say about both these characters, and then we can move on to the others, but it's hard to say who's worse. I said, he's an asshole, but he has people. He has his dad's company. She's alone, but she's nice until she's driven crazy by, men or whatever. He's more of a psycho asshole because of cause, whereas she's more of a crazy bitch because of the effects others have put on each other and on her. So it's like, it's almost a dichotomy between the two of them. It's the perfect storm.
Yeah.
So
I think also it's one of those, when I was watching it, I was thinking he's successful in this society that they just came from.
Yeah.
Because he's charismatic, he's got his buddies, they're helping each other. The whole, it's who you know and not what you know.
Yeah.
Where she's not successful there because she does know things, but she doesn't have that social connection with others.
Right.
So.
And it's male led.
Yeah.
So
the boys club thing in corporate America is 100% true, whether men want to admit it or not. Boys clubs exist.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes women's clubs exist too, but not as often. But to me, it was also the dichotomy there of she's in her element in this like isolated area where she knows how to survive and she's comfortable in her own skin and she doesn't have to mask who she is. but he has to mask who he is to try to survive through that island.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting play on how each character thrives in the worlds that they're put in.
Yeah. And honestly, what you were just saying kind of reminds me of what T.J. Miller said in the Office Christmas Party. When there's a point where he's praying in his little personal bathroom office thing, and he's like, "Dear God," because the whole premise of that movie is they want to throw this Office Christmas Party to try to get like this partner, or whatever, to make it, basically stay open. And so he's basically praying to the boss, and he's like, "All right, like, dear God, we're going through this whole thing," and he's like, "We're going through a lot of hard times right now." And he said, "I mean, not really me, because I I was born male and white and rich and straight, except for that one time in college." But no, it kind of goes along with what you're saying about the boys club, and it's just like, it made me think of that. It's like, well, this is corporate America,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
But all right, well, hey, we're going to get into the interesting things of note. These are things that we kind of read online, and we hope they're true. And this is actually a little bit more true, because this came out of like press interviews. So I've got 4 interesting things to know. One's a little long, but I promise it'll still be brief. So our first interesting thing to know is Sam Raimi said he and Rachel McAdams basically just went out and shot all of the Survivor audition videos and did it all in one afternoon with a little iPhone that was the cinematographers, and like just around the studio,
Yeah.
Ron Rocks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So Raimi stated that when Raimi stated that when it came to the plane crash scene, he put together a reel of all classic plane crash scenes, such as crashes from Castaway, Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, and Twilight Zone the movie. They made this reel to show them what not to do, not what to do. They weren't going to try to pull from ideas. They wanted this plane crash to be so unique. They did not want it to look like all these, and it showed. It really did. They wanted it to be unique as original as possible.
Yeah. I will say, when the plane crash scene happened, I was shocked, and I really liked, they tell everybody, sit down and buckle up. And of course, the corporate guys are like, only D-bags need to wear your seatbelt. And the one just gets slammed up and slammed down. And I'm like, that to me is also kind of realistic when you see, when they do like the gravity training for like astronauts, and they that you get to that point where you're weightless. I was like, yeah, D-bag, put your seatbelt
on. I will be honest with you. I am one of those D-bags that hates wearing seatbelts on planes.
Honey, I know.
Next note here is Raimi personally directed and performed all of the blood scenes, basically. He is quoted as saying, "I chose to do this because I don't feel anyone can do it as well as me." Rachel McAdams is quoted as saying, "It's a rite of passage to be sprayed in the face with blood by Sam Raimi." Now, this one's a little long, but I did want to talk about it. And this might back up your theory as opposed to mine. Raimi was asked about the CGI boar, and the interviewer basically asked, "What practical tools were you using with Rachel to get that overall effect of danger, something that many modern films don't do well with CGI?" His response was, "It all starts with the human being in the scene, and it ends there too. It's about knowing what we're doing shot by shot, how the scene's going to progress, like a piece of music. You need to know the melody, craft of the melody, and learn it, because you're going to start here on this note, and then you're going to go back to the beginning over there. Then you have to go capture this note. To make it work, we have to know this piece of music so we know whether or not the note is right or wrong." He takes this from the design of Bill Pope, my cinematographer, to Doug LaFleur, my storyboard artist, to my stunt coordinator, to the visual effects. So he basically went department to department. Props had to create a world properly and the necessary tools to tell the story in the world. I would go over about 100 beats with Rachel to get every movement down, and then you have 2 seconds to climb up a tree. The scene is all driven by her performance and plates with that were going into the puppet. So I guess there were some practical things there. Great puppeteers, great craftsmen for the design of the boar, sculptors, painters, mechanical effects, people working on them because they needed the boar to snap and have drool coming out and spit snot through its nose and launch blood through its mouth and have sweat coming off of it and all sorts of fluids. So they kind of went a little bit practical, obviously, because she does get crap all over her face and stuff from the boar.
Yeah.
So I guess it was kind of more of an even 50-50 thing, but
Yeah.
I still, you know, I didn't mind the scene, but I mean, it just kind of took me out a little bit. So
Yeah.
all right, so Katie, what was your favorite scene from this film?
I would say that it's a toss-up
Mm.
between the plane crash and then the reveal that the entire time there's been a house there.
Yeah.
Because you think, oh, the twist is that she's not grabbing the boat, and things like that. But even like when the fiance shows up, the fiance, you'd assume, had seen the house,
Right.
didn't even say anything about it. So when it finally that was revealed, that was a good twist to me.
Yeah.
I like movies where I don't see something coming. Usually it's very easy to see something coming.
Yeah.
So I like that twist. What about you?
I like the end build up. I really did like the golf ball thing or the golf club thing where she winds back and you could tell she's about to kill him, and then she swings, and then boom, it's a year later, and it's like she's swinging a golf club at a. I just thought that was a really cool transition. I thought that was a really neat scene.
Yeah.
So, all right, what do you? So now we're gonna move on to the death count. How many deaths do you think there were in this movie?
Well, you had the D-bags on the plane.
Yep.
And Brad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking 5 again.
It's actually according to 413 Horror and More, 10 deaths.
Okay.
So you had all those people, but then you also had the fiance, you had the guy.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Yep.
So, okay, what was your favorite? What was the best death, or what was your favorite kill?
I honestly liked the plane crash. The suspenders D-bag.
Yeah, Donovan.
Yeah, there's we didn't touch base on it in our summary and everything, but basically it's kind of like a dark humor of it, where he ends up being like sucked outside, but he's like outside of her window and he's like, help me,
holding on and such,
and she's just like closes the window.
Yep.
I had to give it to that one.
Am I imagining this? Didn't he like trying to go in and she had to like pull his hand off of the
Something
other side of the plane? And
yeah. Well, and he had like kicked the other guy in the face to get the other guy off of him. So he'd already like helped to kill one guy.
Yep.
And then screaming for help for himself. Where she just
impaled.
Closes the window.
Yeah. I think he got impaled too at some point. I can't remember. It's been like a week since we've seen it, but
I know that she like pries his hand like off of.
That's what it is.
Yeah, like he's like, I think he's like holding onto her shirt or something, her seatbelt, and she's like, get off of me.
Yep.
And then he ends up hanging out by her window.
Yeah.
What about yours?
Also my favorite death was Donovan's.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So hey, now we're gonna get into our rating system. So we basically grade each movie on 3 different scales. We rate the film by letter grade, by number 1 through 10, and 5 stars. We just like to be a part of all the conversations and all the grades, and wanted to talk about that. So, Katie, what do you give this for a letter grade?
I gave this an A.
Okay.
I was thoroughly entertained by it. Like I said earlier, there's so many, especially horror movies, but thriller movies, suspense movies, they foreshadow so much that it's not subtle and you can see where the twist is going or whatever is happening. I liked that there were not just one twist to it. There were several things that you were like, oh, didn't think that was coming. That's out of left field. I really liked that.
Yeah.
What about you?
I went with a B+. I gave this a B+. Like I said, I could not give this an A simply because the CGI board did take me out of the movie. I was like, But then also, with her having an unclear motive, that was a big plot point for me.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't ruin the movie at all, but it is something that I felt like didn't really take it into that A to A+ category.
Yeah.
But I felt like a B+ was still a fair grade.
Yeah.
I also gave this an 8.5 out of 10 for a number grade, simply because, like I said, it was still good. I can't necessarily say anything bad about it. There were just some things that I was like,
Yeah.
What about you? What'd you give it for ranking 1 out of 10?
I gave it a 9.5.
Okay.
The only gripe that I had is that I would have liked some more clarity on her ex-husband, if she did or did not mess with the plane. Like, I feel like you could have gone a darker route by making it that she did kill her ex-husband, that she did do something to the plane, that she kind of set this all up. You could have gone a little bit of a darker route. So that's the only The only real gripe that I have with this one, it kept me intrigued.
Yeah.
From the beginning to the end.
Yeah. And how many stars did you give it?
I gave it 4 out of 5.
Okay.
Again, just all around a great movie. There was just a couple of things that I wish they thought, like one more scene.
Yeah.
Give me like one more, little bit of information.
Yeah.
What about you? What are your stars?
I also gave it 4 stars. I didn't feel like it was, like I felt like 3.5 to 3 would have been too low, and so I felt like 4 stars was still a pretty good grade out of 5.
Yeah.
So
alongside our grades with our letter grades, our numbers, and our stars, we have what I think is the most important grade is rewatchability. Is this something that you are going to want to see again? Is this something that intrigued you enough that you hey, I want to see that scene, or maybe there was something I missed? So what did you rate this with the rewatchability?
Yeah, so for my replay value, I basically said I was neutral on it. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be the first one that I put on. This would be one though that I feel like if you were like, "Hey, babe, do you want to watch Send Help?" Because I know you liked it more than me, I wouldn't be bothered by it, nor would I be like, "Oh no, why?" I would still be up for watching it. I thought it was good, but there's probably a good 100 to 150 movies that I would put on before this. And I don't say, again, that's not saying that this is a bad movie. It's just there are several other movies that top it for me. You know what I mean? So I just said I was neutral. But again, I don't say that in a negative way. I want to make that very clear.
I gotcha. Well, obviously I put Will Watch repeatedly.
Okay.
I think it's well into my top 20.
Yep.
I superb performances.
Yep.
Again, kept you on the seat of what was going to happen next, and I like the twist. And in fact, I want to see it again when I am able to, because I want to kind of see it from the beginning with the lens and perspective of knowing about the ex-husband and things like that. To just see it again.
Yeah. Well, and overall, I really do feel like this movie, again, like I said in the beginning, it's one of the most relatable horror movies. It's not every day that you're getting chased by a masked serial killer. Your house isn't necessarily haunted. Maybe it is. I don't know. But ours, whatever it is, it's your business. But, I would probably take a gander and say that most people who watch this movie, their house is not haunted, nor are they getting chased by a serial killer. But we all have to go to work every day.
You've had a crappy boss.
You've had a shitty boss. We've been through it. Yeah. We know it. And so much so that at the premiere, they set up basically a portable rage room, and they invited executive assistants to come and to just destroy shit. And I again, that is just the cherry on top for, I feel like, people who especially have shitty bosses. I mean, that's just awesome. So, well, hey guys, that about wraps it up for this episode. Katie, you got anything you want to add?
Be nice to your employees.
Yeah.
If you learn anything from this, you might not know how to make a fire or get fresh water or hunt a boar, but you'll learn to be nice to your employees.
But also be nice to your boss too. I mean, especially if they are a genuinely nice boss and maybe they're just having a bad day. I get it if you have a shit boss, but man, if you're just one of those people that just doesn't like authority, buck up, man, because there's always going to be somebody above you.
And to quote, as we did earlier, don't mistake their kindness for weakness.
Right. And as always, guys, you can find us on our social medias right here. We're on Facebook, Twitter, X, TikTok. Thank you for watching us on YouTube. Thank you for listening to us on podcast streams. And
remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. All these things are free, and they definitely help to get our name out there to grow our community.
Yep. And you can also shoot us an email, thecouplethatslays@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know how we're doing. If you got a question, concern, want to be on the show, want us to review something, want us to unbox something, always feel free to hit us up.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. So from The Couple That Slays Together, I'm Brandon.
I'm Katie. And remember, enjoy your horror and don't mistake the kindness for weakness.
We're the couple that slays together.